Greetings, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. So, doing a check-in a little later than usual, but doing a check-in this morning just to take a intentional, take a moment to be very intentional about relaxation. And so, still up early, but sometimes I get caught up in either research and cleaning, and then I move on to my movement practice and working with folks. So, just contemplation this morning is can um, relaxation, can it help us to accomplish more? Um, it's easy to be running around, busy, 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 and think that we don't have the time to relax. So, I'm not anybody's guru. I'm just a woman sharing woman's experience and perspective. So, just a question, maybe something I invite you to consider. Can being relaxed, can it help us to accomplish more? Can it help us feel more grounded? Can it help us, greetings, greetings, can it help us be more present in our bodies, right? Especially when it comes to, as many human beings with self sabotaging behaviors, all these things we're working for, working to create more money and better homes and all this other stuff. But as humans, quite often, I don't know if you can relate, we have a lot of mindless behaviors that can sabotage our goals. So I found relaxation to be a huge tool. And I've actually found that doing it a couple of times a day, it could be at any point at random, it's free. We have access to it. That relaxation can do what I call can ground to help me come back down present into my body instead of wafting off, floating off my brain, my mental processing, following all the myriad of thoughts. So you're welcome to take a little breathing break this morning. So you can find a comfortable position. If you have any issues with your back or your knees, you can feel free to sit up in a chair that gives your back some support and allows your spine to be nice and tall so you have a lot of space between your ear and your shoulder. You want to draw your belly button in slightly into your spine. And I'm breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Actually, your eyes can be closed or open, so there are no official rules. It's interesting also to notice what positions your body gravitates towards naturally, and to notice even in those positions that your body gravitates towards, are they positions where you're still able to stay grounded? Or are there certain positions that we go into where our mind is actually, it's interesting. These kind of positions I find when I'm not present in my body, my mind is off somewhere else. I'm just not present. And this is actually active relaxation. So I'm in a position where my body can be more efficient at relaxing without distraction of irritation of lower back pain or knee pain, if that makes sense. So like active relaxation versus passive, like it's when we're sleeping, or just passive, like we're not there. Nobody's home anymore. And there are times we want to do that intentionally. And there are times when many of us, as we can observe, are just kind of sleepwalking through life. And the only time I found that's an issue is when it's sabotaging the goals and we have big pockets and hours of wasted time, or it's time that we can't account for because as humans, we're just lulled by all of these different things competing for our attention that's drawing us outward, if that makes sense. So just to be actively awake and relax at the same time, the breath can really be a great tool, right? So Simple practice. No middleman, no religion required. So, this is a good time, perhaps, if you like to write in your journal a few words or a few sentences of anything that comes up for you organically, or if there's something that you're working on and working through, if you're working through some vices or some habitual mindless behavior, or maybe even if you have a goal or something that you're trying to accomplish. I like to ask questions of my own divine, onboard, innate intelligence that we're all born with, because there's an intelligence that solves problems, that can give us directions. I'm not attached to what folks call it, or myself, even what I call it, but I identify an intelligence there. And it's surprising. I found that asking questions of your own divine, onboard, innate intelligence, it can really help you cultivate confidence in yourself and trust in yourself. I do find also that cultivating that is also goes along with making the effort to create like a sense of quiet from the inside. Greetings, creating like a craving, like we crave spices, you crave a meal, but I know often I crave quiet. And the quieter more I make an effort to notice, I can notice when my mind is not quiet, or sometimes I check in the middle and the end of the day to see how much of the day has gotten away from me. Just like the wandering of the mind, like I think has become societal, that we just have a lot of wandering minds. And years could disappear. Years could just disappear from your life, us not being present. Or you look around and like, wow, how did my body get like this? Or things that things we need to take care of that we don't. And it's I don't know, just one woman's perspective. I just noticed that it's societal that our minds are wandering, and I make the effort to be really intentional about what I'm taking in from these screens. And even if I wanted to, quote unquote, zone out, being that so much of our behavior is driven by the subconscious, and I know that this is a computer, that I don't make any sprouts. I'm humble. I don't make any sprouts, no butter beans, about the fact that we are highly influenced, that we're easily triggered as human beings, that the brain is going to respond automatically to triggers of fear and fright. So if I know my brain is programmable, I might as well program it myself to the best of my ability, and that they're old programs packed down into the subconscious. So if I can erase them, I can at least make the effort to add in my own programs, if that makes sense. So I do that with quiet. I do that with music. I do that with images I put in front of myself. I do that with plants. So that it may seem like it's really simple, but that is actually a practice of self care. So there's certain things that intuitively I have noticed that make me feel better. And I find that certain simple practices that I have access to that don't cost me anything, but just being intentional, I find that they're leveraged, right? These simple activities give me leverage, and they help me to, just like my physical fitness and my movement practice has been leveraged. It keeps serving me today. I still keep getting residual benefits from habits that I've had for many, many years, like eating unprocessed foods. It has benefits, it saves me lots of money on supplements. So, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So there are certain habits, especially when it comes to being relaxed, right? When there's so many things that trigger us to not being relaxed and that are drawing us outward. I found that just simple relaxation has tremendous leverage, and it doesn't cost us anything. I think it's also interesting to notice how much resistance, right? That if you listen, right, if you start to listen to the internal dialogue without judging it, just observing it, it's like, wow, wow. Like to me, it's like it can help you develop a healthy curiosity about mindless habits that we all have. So I think it can be very helpful to helping us accomplish more because quite often I've noticed in years of working in food and fitness, many people come trying or trying to beat themselves into submission with exercise. I love physical movement. So I notice the looks of stress on people's face or being triggered or feeling judged or judging themselves or calling themselves names. Or I notice many women, many people, especially women, um, what's the word? We denigrate and berate ourselves. The language we use, call our own selves names. Isn't that interesting? We often say that we're concerned about other people with name calling or treating us mean, but I don't think people even notice how easy it is for us to use certain language where we're berating ourselves. So quiet, it's almost like me looking at something over there, right? Quiet can help you start to distinguish the language that's there. Sometimes it's so imperceptible, so it's always going on. But there's constant communication and then the different types of intelligence, right? And some of it is just, I call it, you tell me what you find, respectfully in the comments. If you even notice, some of it is very, what I'll call very guiding, very guidance like that intelligence. And part of it is critical, very critical, very judgmental, not paranoid, but very, I would say, because it's very protective, believe it or not. And all the parts of our psyche, they have a reason why they are there. And so, and just a basic comprehension, I don't think you need to become a psychologist, but in starting to understand how our own psyche works, I think that can give us tremendous leverage, especially when it comes to being more effective at our fitness goals, our self care. All of this is leveraged because understanding the why and be able to step back objectively. We don't have to exhaust ourselves and then have a backdoor effect of beating up on ourselves because we feel like a failure, right? Instead of just understanding how our psyche works. So there's a part of our intelligence that's very hypercritical, but it's actually trying to protect us. So it's got a watchful eye, and it can be very may seem like it's paranoid, but it's a part of our psyche that's trying to protect us all the way from childhood. But a lot of times it's not logical. It's not logical. It can actually be really fueling a lot of our self-sabotaging behaviors. So learning, or at least being open to cultivating quiet, and even the language, I make an effort to observe how I feel when I'm using certain kind of language, because all of these things in milliseconds is all having an effect on our behavior, and most of it during the course of the day is being driven by the subconscious. So just a simple practice of breathing can have tremendous leverage in helping us to cultivate an awareness of how our intelligence is working. So, just wanted to do a check in. The cocoon, for those folks that are joining on the cocoon, if you're interested in the cocoon. And for folks that have asked, the cocoon is basically a process of going in. Some people call it going underground. And it's a time where we eat the best foods and well, there's a lot that's going to cocoon, but basically, it's a lot of self care. It's a lot of quiet. It's a lot of listening. It's really intentionally taking the time to see and to also observe and to assess and to execute. Right? Because we can see here praying and affirmations being all positive, but without aligning with actions, getting into action around what you say is important to you to experience while you're on this plane. Because I don't know about you, I don't know everything that's happening in the next plane. And if there is a next plane, I think it's going to be a continuation of this plane. I think our consciousness, even if we don't have this body, will continue on with us. But that's another story. But the cocoon is a time to go in, to finally rest, to restore, and to recalibrate. And within that, of course, there's going to be whole living foods, the best foods, right, that are optimal for optimal functioning of the brain and the body temple, and for our mood, and for vitality, and for beauty, as well as cultivating our movement practice, refining our movement practice, working around if you have things that have been holding you back, whether they have been injuries or not understanding what you're doing and being efficient at your movement program and being effective. Sometimes, especially as women, or men. But we're doing lots of movement patterns that we may not realize may be exacerbating certain conditions in our shoulders or jacking up our knees. And we keep coming back to jacking ourselves up. And that can be a tremendous setback. And that can make us feel very defeated, right? So, really cultivating our movement practice, and as well as reconnecting with nature in a very personal way, even if you're in the city. So that's going to be going on intensively, and it's going to be in different phases, right? So that is the cocoon, and I will be going over more details in the first phase. So some folks are doing that in a group setting, and most people are also doing that individually based on what time zone they're in. So I just wanted to check in with you and to invite you to create a great day on purpose because you said so. And if you're finding that the day is getting away from you and you've kind of strayed away from your um, the focus of your goals, feel free. I'm big on the practice of laying on the floor, putting out your mat, or sometimes maybe no mat, and laying on the floor sometimes and doing nothing. There's some simple practices that can bring us back to present and drop back down into our body. So you may need to, or maybe even have your children, if you're amped up, if you're triggered, lay on the floor and do nothing and listen to your breathing. It's simple practice that can have tremendous leverage, and it's something that we have access to. All right, y'all. Y'all create a great day, and I will see you soon. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Check out the puppet series, Sister Butterfly and Sister Monkey. Learn to eat better. Resources that are available. Oh, especially if you're in the cocoon, a resource to avail yourself of, and you can find that on the website on Body-Culinary. Is Whole Living Foods in the Hood. It can really shorten your learning curve and provide different budgets depending on what your spending plan is. If you're one person, a couple, if you have a small family, on shopping for whole, fresh, living, unprocessed foods and ideas, sample menu plans, right? So that those are not the recipes, but when I'm shopping in bulk, I'm giving you pictures of and ideas for these are certain dishes that I would prepare, right? From the whole fresh ingredients. So it's no TVPs, it's no fake meats or anything. I'm using the whole fresh ingredients. So that's downloadable with visuals of different ideas of how I'm packing and taking my food with me. And I've been doing this for well over a decade, like about 12, going on 12 years. And let's see, there's Natural Beauty No Products. So if you want to see how I cleared up a lot of cystic acne with just food and using food on my skin and my hair, Natural Beauty No Products. There's Healthy Eating for Men. That webinar is available. So I highly recommend that folks watch that with your partner, potential partner, even your son, so that they can learn how to also, and you can learn how to, if you're men folk out there, learn how to be responsible and take care of yourself, because the issues with prostate cancer are no joke. So a lot of times we're eating for entertainment, and upfront or later you're going to pay the bill. So it is really worth it to learn how to take care of yourself and your internal hygiene. And also, when we're mixing with each other, our body chemistries affect each other. So your movement practice and your internal hygiene, not just putting all these different soaps and stuff on the outside. Hygiene is also from the foods that we're eating. It affects our blood chemistry, it affects our arteries being able to be free flowing, as well as our body odor and all of that stuff. And then the other thing is food preservation and emergency preparedness. So consuming a way of life that what I will call, more so than a label, is peaceful consumption. That's how it occurs to me, which is more effective for me than a label. Someone that comes from a junk food addiction, understanding my why is more important to me than the label. And then everything falls in line with that. And peaceful consumption is what I'm striving for. And actually, that's what I've been able to maintain. But I've been able to maintain because of my why. So that's something I've maintained for years. And being it's a lifestyle, when all of these different emergency situations have come up, there's not that much of an adjustment I need to do. I didn't need to go out and to buy a whole bunch of canned food, right? So I'm still eating food that's fresh. And I want to encourage you all, definitely in a cocoon, reconnecting to nature. Um, in your personal space, your personal sanctuary. So the emergency food and preparedness and preservation, those are also available on the site. So those are some resources you can avail yourself of if you have questions, or if you'd like a personal, to contact or ask me other personal questions. You can feel free to reach me through the website. And it's also check out Kwasa Peaceful Eating on TikTok. All right, y'all. See you soon.